And that's what it comes down to, is I think that at the end of the day, game publishers get much more out of Twitch than Twitch gets out of game publishers. What did I think of the Google Stadia guy talking about streamers licensing games they stream? I kind of enjoyed having a mental experiment about it, where I asked myself the question, in what universe could what he say make sense? And for everyone else's context, what he said was basically that streamers shouldn't expect games for free when they're playing games. They should basically pay their dues. And kind of implied that streamers should actually pay to get access to games so they can make money off of the game as content. It's obviously not a proper reflection. Oh, here we go. I gotta focus on this guy for a minute. No! Lydia, where were you? I actually tweeted about this and said that I'm a little surprised at how taken aback streamers are about this DMCA thing with music, because this is the way that the music industry has always acted, all the way back to the days of Napster, when they went after individual people for downloading music for free. They've always had this insanely regressive attitude towards access to music. And yeah, you remember, man. A lot of people, I think a lot of people that watch my stuff remember, because we're kind of older folks. And so I was surprised that everyone else was surprised. And my mind went down a strange path where I asked myself, what if access to games was treated the same way as access to music on streaming platforms like Twitch? And when I went down that pathway in my head, it made the comment of the Stadia director suddenly make sense. If you had to license games to play on stream, what is this? Got to build up that MP3 collection. You'd liken it to if you own a bar or something, you have to license the music you use, license the access to the sports shit you have on display. Right. And for some reason, video games have escaped that approach on Twitch, which I hope is largely due to the fact that game publishers realize that they get a tremendous amount of free advertising to their core markets from streamers. And the amount of money that streamers make off of those games is paltry compared to what those publishers are making off of the game sales that result from that advertising. At least I'd assume that's the case. That's an educated guess, let's call it. But yeah, I could see a world where somehow game publishers got regressive in those attitudes. Deeg, do I work in the game industry? I do not work in the game industry. I am in the software industry, though. I know a little bit about how the sausage gets made, but not game-flavored sausage. No, I'm just someone who's been playing video games and thinking about them for basically 3/4 of my life, something like that. You've seen people say that they could pay like $5 million for advertising for a game and get next to nothing out of it, but pay some streamer 1 to 5% of that for a weekend and have it be much more beneficial. Right, exactly. Actually, I saw this recently with Guild Wars 2. Summit 1G played Guild Wars for like a week, and Guild Wars had an incredibly high boom in viewership that lasted for like a month on Twitch. It lasted a whole month after he stopped playing. And I'm sure that also resulted in a lot of microtransaction sales from the game and a whole bunch of other positive things. Like you also saw the developer kind of react, where they put a bunch of promotions and specials into the game at the same time the Summit 1G wave was happening. So they were aware of it, and I'm sure it was benefiting them. So should Summit have paid to play the game to do that? No. Clearly it was a one-sided thing. Clearly Summit could bring more to Guild Wars 2 than Guild Wars 2 could bring to Summit. And that's what it comes down to. Is I think that at the end of the day, game publishers get much more out of Twitch than Twitch gets out of game publishers. But I also think that's the case with music. But we still have this regressive system. Okay. Okay, we're saving. Yeah!
Have a death wish?
Take that. Damn, that thing is a beast. I think publishers are smart enough to know that, which is probably why they haven't. Right. That's I think, the reasonable assumption, Lex. And that reasonable assumption is what makes that Google Stadia guy look so deluded. But if you lived in a world where you were having conversations with publishers about the potential of charging streamers for games, because that's what they do for music, and you were seeing what was going on with the DMCA, I could see someone saying something like that out loud and thinking in their head it was reasonable before it got out into the public. But, I mean, maybe I should have that guy on the podcast, see what he thinks. You can see an EA or Activision doing that. It does seem like a suitably EA evil thing, right? I like Iverstead. It's kind of a cool town. I like that it has no merchant. It makes it feel like it's really, like, out of the way. Indie and smaller companies would be the death sentence. Oh, totally. Like, Deep Rock Galactic is a fantastic game by a tiny studio. I think they have like 25 people. And I applied to join their streamer program like a few months ago when because I streamed it for like 3 or 4 weeks. And I got in, and I think I streamed the game like 2 times after that because I put 75 hours in and I didn't feel like I needed to play anymore. But I'm still part of their streamer program because I think that they understand if it's better for them to increase the likelihood of any streamer coming back to the platform. You wonder what the fee would look like? You mean the fee for licensing like game streaming? I mean,
Have anything interesting to tell me?
That's a good question. Let me think about that. And also, how would you... I think it'd be pretty expensive to enforce, potentially. Although, I guess with the way that automated content detection works on Twitch and YouTube, it wouldn't be that hard. If they made it palatable, you might see people eat it like all the other 10-a-month things they'd give to. Yeah, I think you're right. I also think that in order to make it, to carry it off, Lex, they'd have to give some incentive. Like, provide some kind of a... I don't know what that would be. Like, actually, I was talking to some of my TFC buddies after the match that I casted tonight about Diabolical, which has some ability to see who's streaming the game while you're in the game. And I know that Quake Champions did this too. So if paying that would get you into like an in-game browser where you could click on someone's name and like launch their stream on a second monitor or something, or even punt it to a phone. That might be enough incentive to get people to pay, you know, some money. And if it's a streamer, it's more of a business expense, which means that the cost can be higher. Like, I'll be honest. Like, let's say I'm playing a game like, let me think. What would be a good example of this?
Disrespect the law.
Well,
and you
PlanetSide,
disrespect
right?
me.
Like, if I wanted to be a really dedicated PlanetSide streamer, and let's say that they have an in-game browser for streams, and when you go there, you can see their Twitch chat, and you could launch the stream either on a mobile device or on a secondary screen. And the only way to appear on that list is to be a PlanetSide partner. In order to be a PlanetSide partner, you can either have a contract with the company, like they would approach you if you're a big streamer, or you could pay $50 a month. And if I was trying to be a big PlanetSide streamer, I might actually pay that $50 a month to appear in that in-game browser. You know? That's like It's like 20 gift subs. Make that back as an affiliate. The thing, though, is that there aren't that many streamers compared to the number of people playing a game. So even though you could get streamers to pay, I don't know if the volume of that would be high enough to justify whatever the infrastructure cost would be to put something like that into place. The simple play would be to just prevent people from streaming it. But that would create such a huge public relations backlash. You'd have to find somebody to trickle it over time to make people kind of accept the idea. Yeah, Plantide's not a great example. I know. I just couldn't think of anything. Like, what about like a big booming game, like a Valorant or something? Or like if you see Shroud Summit and then 10 random people who paid for a license to stream next to those guys. Like, that would be kind of cool.